But first tonight at 10, it's the eve of a highly anticipated speech in Iowa. We'll tell you what it could mean for the chances of having President Scott Walker.
Good evening, I'm Eric Franke. The governor has been answering questions recently about his ambitions after some high-profile speeches around the country.
I'm not looking for any other job. I had to work extremely hard 2 times in the last 2 years to be governor. I love being governor. There's no better job in America. And as long as the people of Wisconsin want me to be governor, I'm going to continue to be governor.
He has answered that way a lot, and that followed the governor's appearance at the Conservative Political Action Committee in March. And new at 10, the governor will give another important speech at a Republican Party fundraiser in Polk County, Iowa. And that is where we find News 3 political reporter Jessica Arp tonight. Jess?
Well, this is the third out-of-state speech this week for the governor. He was in Connecticut and New York the last couple of days, but this will likely be the most watched speech to see if he's signaling bigger ambitions.
I think it sends an equally powerful message. We should be paying for outcomes. We need reformers.
His reformer reputation has taken Governor Scott Walker on the road.
This is done because these are tough times.
It started, of course, after Act 10, the collective bargaining bill, sparking protest from the left and praise from the right, and now making him a mentioned candidate for a much higher office.
This is part of a series of speaking events that the governor has done. He was in Nevada fairly recently, which is also an early caucus state. And it's the steps that a potential candidate takes.
Marquette Law professor Charles Franklin says right now, if you put the governor on a polling list for president, even in Wisconsin, he doesn't make the top, sitting third to Congressman Paul Ryan and Senator Marco Rubio. But that doesn't mean to count him out.
In the national polling, he polls well down the list, but a number of pundits rate him as a much more plausible candidate. They're looking at as a candidate who especially appeals to the more conservative wing of the party.
I can assure you that people are talking to him as we speak and, hoping that he'll do it.
Cam Sutton is the chair of the Iowa group who is bringing Governor Walker here this week, and he says there's a reason some 600 people are expected for his speech. I've
gotten to know the governor. I know what he stands for, and I go back to my word genuine. There's nothing fake about him, and I think that's what the American people are looking for.
But the chair of the Polk County Democrats doesn't see it that way and doesn't think Iowans will either.
I think that they probably have a pretty good view of him because he is close. And I would think that probably most Iowans would view him as more of a divisive leader. So they would have an understanding of what he offers. I know divisive leaders always think they can, really ignite their base. And maybe that's what he thinks his strength is. But as a nation, I think we really need to have a president who's going to bring us together.
I think people feel like, look, Governor, I'd go to Iowa County instead of the state of Iowa.
The visit is already drawing the ire of Wisconsin Democrats who say the governor is looking too far down the road.
I think he's making a key mistake here, and you should never take for granted, things at home. It's great to be looking at higher ambitions for people if you think it's there for you, but you got to attend to your business at hand.
At hand first is the 2014 gubernatorial election before any presidential campaign would begin. But Walker in the White House is sure to get a lot of discussion before then.
At this point, I think he's running for re-election on the idea that I'm going to be the governor of Wisconsin, for the next 4 years, after the first term. But I can just promise you that there's a lot of people that are going to be talking to him about the fact that you are a great governor, but you'd also be a great president.
The governor told reporters last week that Iowa was, quote, an easy trip that he could make after putting in a day's work in Wisconsin. He does have at least 2 events scheduled tomorrow in Milwaukee and Appleton before coming here to Iowa. This also isn't the end of his national appearances. He has at least 2 more high-profile speeches scheduled in June and July in California.
Jessica Arp in front of the Iowa State Capitol there in Des Moines and Polk County, reporting live tonight. Jessica, thank you.